Welcome to your knockout brawl of Ryzeal versus Maliss YCS Orlando edition. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oscar. We have your YCS Orlando top cut breakdown here. Carlancho did a fantastic job putting this together. So as per usual, show some love to Carlancho down below. All right, so we got 36 them Ryzeal decks. This is going to be including Mitsurugi, your Fiendsmith variations, all that fun stuff. Going to be wrapped up into a very nice pile, and they're going to be considered one deck for this. So yes, I understand there's some variations to this. We will talk more about that later on in the video when we start to get to the analyzation of those decks. We also had 19 Maliss challengers out here. So yes, I understand the scales are tipping a little bit here. And that this meta is very much further ahead of what people were wanting and expecting to see. We also had 5 Fiendsmith variants out here. I understand that when you look at this meta on the surface, Fiendsmith looks like it is the major annoying problem, which I agree with 110% out here. I think that the Fiendsmith is a very, very, very annoying side of this format, and I would love to see it cleaned up, but okay, we also had 2 Mermail Atlantean decks out here. I think that this was by far your most surprising factor out of the course of the weekend here. And we also had 2 Tenpai Dragon decks. I too remember when Tenpai was a very scary deck and something that, we had to deal with. Now, shifting on into top 32 here. Okay, we're down to 20 Maliss decks, or excuse me, 20 Ryzeal decks at this point in time. Yeah, the pie chart really shifts in this area, which is not too good, actually. We've also got 9 Maliss, and what's crazy about this is your Fiendsmith conversion is bad here. You're down to 1 Mermail, 1 Tenpai as well. That's a major destruction path out here to this. Now, your top 16, we're really ramping up out here. Your rogue challengers are just vanishing out of the meta. At this point, you're down to 11 Ryzeal builds. So Ryzeal slowly getting checked out of the meta, which is kind of what you were wanting to see. You want to see this deck, getting reduced numbers. But we're also down to 4 Maliss at this point. Maliss is just getting wiped out. And of course, 1 Tenpai Dragon. Somehow Tenpai was still holding on up to this point, which is insane. Then we get into your top 8. Oh, okay, so this is where the devastation starts. At the point of top 8, you have 6 Ryzeal variants sitting here in the top cut. And then you have 2 Maliss decks on the back burner here, trying to catch up and to compete with, the meta as it's developing here. Yes, we did lose our Tenpai duelist at this stage, but, that's because of the ban list. And then we shift on along here into top 4. This is where you have the Rock'em Sock'em robot battles beginning out, or continuing out here, as you do see another Ryzeal mirror match stepping up to bat out here, which nobody should be too surprised to be seeing that. But our last Maliss challenger is still up to plate out here, still trying to keep this deck going, and I think they did a fantastic job at that. It's a 3-to-1 ratio at this point, which is rough, but unfortunately, that's all they wrote for Maliss, as the finals, as many of you saw, ended up being a Rock'em Sock'em Battle of the Robots out here, really just kind of showcasing how this meta is. So, to be honest with you, yeah, I got nothing else to say. There's so many cool variations of Ryzeal right now that it's become interesting, but something might be coming with EX, but we'll wait and see. Let's pass on over to deck list. All right, so guess what? I found some Fiendsmith cards, Ma. I never would have guessed these cool little Fiendsmith cards would have been making their way. Yeah, we knew that this was, how many people out here were like, yeah, just don't play Fiendsmith. Fiendsmith is broken, everybody. I am telling you. Do you see how depressed I am? How destroyed I am? How amazed that I am? This is the cycle of being a Yu-Gi-Oh player right now, and it's crazy. It's almost like the Fiendsmith cards were a fundamental broken mess. Now, the question is where's Mr. Konami going to go with this? Are they going to look at EX and go, you're the problem? Or are we going to look at the Fiendsmith cards and we're going to actually clean this mess up? Because this is an issue, all right? But congratulations to winning the event. You know, it's the same story that we've been seeing develop out here for a while. This deck, pretty goddamn good. All right, it's going to be good for a very long time. Going to continue to challenge the meta. And, you know, it's nice to see some meows actually kind of coming into the arena out here. Next up here, Mitsurugi. Now, this deck has been very interesting to see. You know, people wanted some time to kind of figure out ratios. Also, the amount of people that are like, the whole ritualing from the, or attributing from the deck, the whole debate on Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring with this second effect down here has been wild. It tributes, it doesn't send. All right, I understand that it's a game mechanic, but the game's never had something attributing from the deck, so it makes sense why you couldn't Ash this effect right here, the ritual summon from the hand by attributing 2 from the deck. All right, I just wanted to point that out. But there's been a whole ruling debate about that. That's why, you know, I think a lot of people are kind of frustrated with this deck right now because of that issue. I know it's when you got to identify ruling issues and disputes as to why certain things are happening in the course of the meta. 2 copies of Murakumo, 1 Futso, yeah, looks good. All the Molcharmies in the world down here. I think that this list looks fantastically normal. 42 cards is going to be a very safe pick for this. All right, next up here, we have Maliss. Okay, so in terms of what Maliss is able to do right now, you really have to work with this deck. Once you establish and figure out where you want to go, you're just going to have to kind of overcome, you know, the craziness. I see that we are doing Metaltronus for the Dead Namer, actually. This is pretty cool. Being able to specifically just take care of an option away from your opponent, take care of this, was one of the best MVPs, I think, that we could have seen this weekend. Also, it's cool to see the A-Bow Q actually showing up, but because there was so much Ryzeal, actually having the option to main this is good. And also, crazy enough, triple shifter in the main. You know, just being able to safely resolve the shifter and get things kind of into your court is actually pretty good. Even though there was a lot of Maliss there, all right, you have to understand that you need cards like this to kind of tip the scales in your favor, and this card is a fantastic job at doing just that. All right, cool. So we have, guess what, more Fiendsmith Ryzeal. All right, I still hate to tell you this, but same thing. This variant is crazy. It is a nutty thing that Konami has allowed this engine to stick around for as long as they have, and it's going to continue to be nuts. I also do see we went with a splash of Nibiwus in this deck. I also do see that we have the Metaltronuses down here in the side deck, or in the main deck as a carry-up option. Still 2 Dead Namers down here. We did choose to go with the triple Meows with the 2 Perozo, which is good. You also do see the Ultimate Slayer cleanup on aisle 9, which is good. And, I mean, typically outside of that, I don't see anything else looking too bad in here. In terms of, you know, deck build and, you know, how this deck kind of wants to come together, I think that this was good. But that was your top 4, and those were your big rock'em sock'em robot battles. Now, we move on along here. Oh, did you notice any change there whatsoever? Well, you're going to notice this copy of Quandax in this side deck down here, which is, I guess, something to toggle on into if need be. I see that we had some talents interactions there, but the fact that we were, I guess, trying to be prepared for anything in Crystron. I don't know why were we doing this? What was the cool purposes? Seems actually very, very appropriate as a nice inclusion. I also see kind of shoving down on Sword. Actually, I've been noticing a lot more of these little hybrid builds out here, cutting down Sword. Sword's kind of just been a little bit more of a brick. I love Sword. I think he's a cool guy, but in combination without the appropriate cards, he's just a little bit of a brick. And then, of course, Cross-out Detonators on cleanup. And then we've also got Oh wow, we have a Crystron duelist. A lot of Crystron tried really hard this weekend to do well. I think one of the more hilarious things I saw out of these builds was the fact that they're actually trying out the Dark Strike Fighter out here. They want to be able to use DSF in time to actually clear out the game, which, you know what? Crystron takes a very long time to do its turns. I'm not saying that the deck is awful, but no, it just takes time. See, we're doing a Kashtira package in here to kind of get to some of the stronger baseline, which is fine. There's going to be no issues with that. You do see, hey, look, it's the reason why Chambara has been stupid expensive for a while now. You know, Cherubini, I think, was probably one of the cooler little options to be making in here. You can get the pieces together and actually get this off the ground. And, of course, Clockwork Knight being the pseudo-starter to do things. But this looks good. I think you've got all the tools here to make a genuinely crazy meta. Or just Ryzeal Rock'em Sock'em robots. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.